Hello everybody in France, this is Chris CAFFERY, and you see I'm wearing red in this photo. No, actually this is the promotion copy of my new CD, Faces, which is coming out in September. The actual cover is not on here, but I want to thank everybody in France and everybody at Italian Magazine, and I hope to see everybody on the road, because as far as I'm concerned, Europe is where the spirit of heavy metal lives, and I'm going to come here and play as much as possible.
So, hello Chris,
hello.
How do you feel today to be here in Paris to do the promotion of your first solo album?
I'm very tired, but I'm very excited. I think ever since I started recording this record, I haven't been getting much sleep, because a lot of what needs to get done I have to do myself. So not only do I spend the time doing the work, but when the work is finished, I spend the time thinking about the work that has to still be done. But I'm very excited about it. I actually just I woke up at about 6 o'clock and left Spain, and now I'm here, and it was much hotter in Spain, and I was in Greece before that, which I was watching the football championships, and the semi-final game, you can see on my hand, I got burned by flares from the people. Oh. Yeah, and I get my face, my nose, so the Greeks are very crazy, but it's been fun.
Okay, you are releasing your first album, but do we have to think that it's only one record or two? Because the edition is containing Faces and Goddamn War.
Well, originally, when I decided that I wanted to do a solo record, I wrote 65 songs altogether. So trying to put 65 songs to one CD was very difficult, and when I was arranging the music, I noticed I had a lot of songs that were about me, but I also had a lot of songs that were about heavy metal songs that were about the war. So I decided to separate them, and I asked, was speaking to my business people about whether or not I could do a packaging like Iced Earth did, where they had the two CDs in one, so this way I wouldn't have to leave anything out. And I still recorded about 30 songs and put in more for the war thing, but the Faces CD is the main CD, the Goddamn War CD is a bonus CD, but there's a lot of me that is rooted in heavy metal, and I wanted to have the war music there, but I didn't feel like it really it fit lyrically with the Faces stuff, because it's so different.
Mm-hmm. Considering the whole production and composing time, were both CDs recorded, produced together at the same time, and
yeah.
After you shared?
Mm-hmm. They were done at the same time, but I did take a break in between mixing both of them, because I wanted the war CD to sound different than the Faces stuff. It feel more like a heavy metal CD. And Faces I wanted to be more diverse, but they were done at the same time.
Okay, you signed with Black Lotus in Greece, so can you explain us how it happened to sign with them? Were you still in contact for a long time with them?
Well, I was looking for somebody to work with me on my solo thing. I wanted to get involved with somebody that was going to hear what I did and hear into the music right away. The business has gotten a lot different in the last few years with the downloading and the way record sales have been, and certain labels are closing, other people are getting fired, so people tend to be very nervous sometimes in the business about what they think an artist can sell. And people were, when I started speaking to my business people and some other people, they were going, well, Sabotage sells this, we think you can sell this. And when I heard that, I was kind of disappointed. And this is before people even heard music. They were telling me this. And I was disappointed because I wanted to do something that was different than Savatage, and that, you know, I didn't want people to judge what they felt I could sell based on what I'd done in the past, because it's a new record. And when I played the music for Black Lotus, they want to make their labels become more successful, and I wanted to make my music possibly becoming more successful than Savatage in a lot of places. So I mean, it's a difficult business now, but I want to go out and play and work. That's the reason why I did this. Savatage was taking a lot of time off, and I had a lot of unanswered questions from the fans about why we weren't playing, and I just decided it was time for me to to get out of the house and out of the bar and not be depressed and make a record and get out there and just play. And then that's when I started singing.
Mm-hmm. In a way, we can say that you were part of all the members of, or maybe ex-members of Savatage have done a part from this band, like maybe Zach with Circle to Circle, or maybe John in Dr. Butcher.
Yeah.
So, do you think it was the time for you to have your thing as all more or less have done in the past?
I think it was time for me to do something where I could let people hear Chris Caffrey, because with Sabotage, I love Sabotage, and I'm always going to be in Sabotage when there's another record, but people would always listen to me, and the immediate comparison goes to talking about Chris Oliva. And when Sabotage started touring less and playing less, I wanted to go and be on the road. And in New York, where I live, there's a house that I live in that when Sabotage plays and rehearses, they stay there. And over the last 3 years, no one's been there because Sabotage hasn't been doing anything. So I was getting very depressed, and I was not being very healthy. And I decided that the best thing for me to do was, instead of get upset at Sabotage, because Sabotage is my family, and I've lived all my dreams as a kid of being a musician through Sabotage. I couldn't get upset at that. I figured the best thing for me to do was to just wake up, write music, and go out on the road and play by myself. And when Sabotage is ready, they'll be there, and I wouldn't have to be angry about it. And I didn't want to quit Sabotage and join another band. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra is selling millions of records in America and selling hundreds and hundreds of thousands of tickets. So I was making enough money off of that from just playing a couple months of the year to live, but the rest of the months I was getting depressed, and I really didn't have a reason to. I just needed to go and find myself, and I did that in the Faces record.
Okay, was your aim to show your talents as a guitar player, because you are singing on the album?
Yeah.
So was it a way for you to be discovered as maybe the world musician you are, or maybe?
Yeah, I think so too. I think people ask why I didn't use someone like John or Paul O'Neill working with this record, and I wanted people to see what I was capable of doing, me personally. And the fact that there are so many songs was a good thing for the guitar playing, because I didn't have to have 10 songs where I played too much guitar. I have a lot of songs where I was able to just play guitar naturally, and the vocal thing is, I think, the thing that's surprising everybody, including myself. I didn't really understand how you can develop a voice, and when it started to happen, it got better very fast. And that, I think, is the thing that's different about this than most people's solo records that are guitar players, because it really doesn't sound like just a guitar player's album. It sounds like a singer's record. So it's kind of, I'm very proud of that.
And yeah, considering your personal aspect, would you be more touched if people are criticizing your way of playing guitar or your way of singing?
I just hope they like both, and I think I'm just hoping that the people that listen to this record can feel some of the emotions that I had when I was making it, because I was, as a musician, you get a little bit older, and when I'm sitting in this house in New York, Sabotage isn't around. The only thing that is around is pictures on the walls and photo albums, and you're looking at photos of yourself from 15, 20 years ago, and you watch a full year of time go by, and I think I didn't want to waste these valuable years to me where I could be playing music for people. And if people can hear the musician in me, if they can listen to the vocals and hear that that no, I'm not Ronnie Dio, but I can sing my emotions, and that's what I want them to hear. And as far as guitar playing goes, I think it's something where I did want to do something where people could hear that that my guitar playing is a little bit different than what they might have heard on all the other records they've had.
Okay, considering the Savatage situation, do you think that at the moment the band don't have anymore the urge to play, in a way, as you were at home waiting to play music with them? Do you think it's... In
some ways that's got to be part of the reason. You have to put some of that blame on it, because regardless of what kind of situation Sabotage may be in and what kind of things the band is facing, the band has enough fans around the world where at any given time Sabotage can go and play. So I think people's lives were just separating from Sabotage. Like I said, I was left alone in this house, and you know, in some ways I think maybe, I don't know if it's lost the urge to play, but maybe it was just that it's been, you know, close to 25 years where John's been playing Sabotage, and maybe it was time for things to slow down for him and for Johnny Lee. But for me and for a lot of the fans, Sabotage was new in some ways. You know, we're Dead Winter Dead, and we came back into Europe. It was less than 10 years, so a lot of people didn't see the 25 years. They only saw the 8 to 10 years, and they wanted to see more of it. And we just started to go to new countries and develop followings in different places. So, like I said, that's part of the thing that was frustrating me. And instead of me getting upset about it, I decided just to go make my record and play. And Savatage will do another record, and it will tour, but I think if it was something that the band forced itself to do, I don't think the fans would be happy with the record, and I don't think the band would be happy on the tour. So as Savatage has got to want to go out and be Savatage in order to make it the right time.
Okay, you were involved in a lot of projects or maybe albums with different people in the years. For example, Metalium, Dr. Butcher, Trans-Siberian, Savatage. So, for you, is this record a kind of summary of what Chris CAFFERY have done through the years?
I think it's a summary of me as a person and a musician. I've played with a lot of different styles of bands. I enjoy all different kinds of music, so I think this record is just it's a summary of me as a musician and a person. And I'm excited about it because I think the one thing that I've learned through doing this album, that some of the thoughts and discussions I was having in my own head about getting old and coming to terms with playing heavy metal music and being an older musician. It's like sometimes you, like I said, you look in the mirror and you look up on stage at some of the bands you looked at when you were a kid, and you picture if you could see yourself doing that if you know 15 years from now. And with this solo music, I know that I can grow with myself, and through this record I've shown that lots of different styles of music, and I think no matter what, I can always find a way to project what I'm thinking and feeling musically. And the vocal thing was kind of like a rebirth for me. People talk about the thing to fall back on in life, you know, when some people have a college degree, some people have this and that. It's like my thing I had to fall back on was the vocals, and I didn't even know it was there until last year. It just came out.
Okay, considering the lineup that is playing with you, was it hard to find the good musicians to have the right emotions?
No, not at all, because Jeff played, he's one of the people in Savatage that definitely has the desire to go and tour. And me and him are kind of in the same situation where we want to be out playing constantly, and he plays in the Trans-Siberian Orchestra live with me. So he's been really the main drummer I've been working with for the last 10 years. And even when it wasn't me that was going to be singing, we were discussing putting bands together with different people, and I'd done some demo work with Jeff and like Bobby from Overkill and some other people. And the bass player that I used, he was also the bass player in the Trans-Siberian Orchestra live. So Dave, Jeff and I had been a live rhythm section for 5 years, 5 tours, and I wanted to have that band feeling to the music. I didn't want to go in and play the bass because I'm not a bass player. I could play bass, I have played bass, but I wanted to have the dimension in the music between the drums, guitars, and bass, especially since I was producing and writing and singing and playing the guitars. I didn't want to be blinded, because sometimes if you do too much yourself, you become too blinded to the whole roundness of the music. And Paul Morris has just been an old friend of mine. We call him Liquorachi, because because you have Liberace, the piano player. Well, he drinks a lot, so we call him Liquorace. But he's great. He's the best keyboard player I've ever worked with. So I'm happy with the musicians I have on the record.
How is seeing Chris, your new project? Did you had some help from him, or maybe some advices? From John, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, actually no. This CD, I played John some of the demo material, and he laughs when he hears me sing because he knows that he's influenced me in some ways with the heavy stuff, but he just listened to the music and said, "Boy, you're not really happy about anything, are you?" Because there's a lot of anger coming out in the vocal performance. But he hasn't even heard the record finished since the demo. So he basically, other than me talking to him when he was in the studio doing his record, just about things, whether what are you doing now? I'm mixing. What are you doing now? I'm editing. What are you doing now? I'm mastering. That sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, it's like we back and forth, just speaking about things. I really didn't have anybody helping me with this. Basically, once the drums and bass were done, it was me and Nick, my engineer, co-producer. We just locked ourselves in the studio and finished it. I did every note of vocals, all the lead vocals and background vocals. I just really wanted to disappear into this music and have it come out with all of me for once.
You told about 30 songs, I think. That's
but there's 30 that were recorded, and the Faces CD is having Goddamn War's a bonus. There's going to be additional songs from the War CD that are available. There's 2 of them on the first single. There's another that's going to be a bonus track in Japan. There's another that I'm going to put as an internet bonus just when I open the War website. So I want to give back to the fans a little bit of what they gave to me throughout the years, because when I first did this, a lot of business people were like, well, why don't you separate it and sell 2 CDs? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I paid for the additional music. I'm under contract to produce 40 minutes of music, 8 songs, basically that's your minimum, and I decided to record all the rest of this and pay for it myself, because I wanted to give the music out, and for me to have released 2 separate albums right now and charge for that, it would have been going against what I felt I wanted to do with this. And I know it's a lot of music, but I had a lot more. I mean, like I said, I had 65 songs, and I'm going to write some more war songs right now because we don't know, the war's not over, and I could still finish this story that's going on with the war. And I have a feeling with the election coming up in America that there's going to be some interesting things happening between now and November in the world. So I want to release, when I release the war thing, I want it to be what I feel is worth people spending their money on. I want to have some computer animation, I want to have the additional songs, I want to have the right artwork. I just didn't want to throw together a second package because I had this material and go, here, give me your money, I have all these songs. I didn't feel right about that, because I wrote all of them together. They just happened to be different lyrically than the Faces material.
At the moment, what are your expectations with this release? Do you think you are looking for maybe more, how can I say, maybe more respect from the metal scene in general?
I think everybody always wants that. I would like it, yeah. I think I would like to just have people, I have a lot of, Sabotage has a lot of respect in the metal scene. It's not like I don't have the respect, but I think I'm maybe looking for a little bit more respect individually as Chris CAFFERY, instead of always being attached to the Sabotage thing. It's very difficult when maybe you want to sell songs or produce a band, and people always think that I'm unavailable to do things because of Sabotage, and that's not the truth. Also, I would like to see this music go to a wider audience than what Sabotage had, because I think there's a lot of emotions in it that relate to everyday things people deal with, especially in the Faces CD. In the United States with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, we did sell over 2 million copies of one record, so there's a large, broad audience that I have a fan base with there too, that may range from 10 years old to 60 years old, that are rock and roll fans and hard rock fans. So somebody that was listening to Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath when they were a kid the first couple records now is 50, 60 years old. There's not that those people don't want to hear hard rock music anymore. There's an audience for that, but there's also a lot of emotions in me that were the same as when I was 16 years old, as far as the frustrations and things I wanted to do musically. So I think there's something in this music that can cross to a lot of different heavy metal fans and hard rock fans, and that's what I would like to see it do. I would like to see this music go to a larger audience. It's going to take a lot of work, because I think it's going to come out first, and like the original business discussion I had before, it's going to sell to my fans and Savatage fans, and it'll cross over to metal fans. But to keep going, I have to get on the road, and I have to promote, and I have to tour, and I have to play, and there's got to be singles, and there's got to be risks, and people have to invest money and time. But that's, to me, that's what I missed. I didn't want to sit home and wait to collect checks. I wanted to go out and play and make things happen. And this whole entire thing is very new to me. So the first time I go up on stage singing, it's going to kind of feel like it did when I was 15 years old. It'll be interesting.